है जो निज़ाम हस्ती चला रहा है, वही खुदा है। दिखाई भी जो न दे नजर भी जो
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ayyuhan Nabi. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. MashaAllah. So the session that I'm going to deliver now is going to be the methodology surrounding the spiritual salah. Now, the theory element isn't that long, but just before I start, can I just by way of show of hands, can you just say for the people that are present here, if this is your first ever retreat, can you just raise your hands? Okay, so this is the first time you're going to be listening to this. Okay, mashallah. Even for you, Asif, mashallah. And Mujtaba, do you have access to the Zoom participants thing? Yeah. Yeah, and those who are watching online, can you just raise your hands if this is your first retreat as well, just to get a gauge of how many of you are new? 7. Okay, that's good. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so as I said, the theory element is relatively straightforward, inshallah. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go through the theory, and then collectively we're going to do a spiritual salah for the people that are here physically. For those of you who are watching online, you'll do your own salah when the time comes. And what we'll do is I'll go through the theory of the salah now, then we will get into our safs to get ready for the prayer, but you'll sit down and then we'll collectively go through the lataif, and then for those of you that are here, then we'll do a jamaat together, nawafil salah, to practice this, inshallah. So to begin, inshallah, the first, for me this is one of the kind of key sessions in a unveiling retreat, because it's an eye-opener, or it's an unveiling of how you can or should be praying. You know, when the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "O Bilal radiallahu an, start the prayer. I do the call to the prayer because I want some ease. I pray so I can have some coolness to my eyes." Now that should have you and me thinking, well, what is it that the Prophet ﷺ is speaking about? Because are we experiencing ease when we go and pray? Like, do I feel the need or the urge to pray? Does it give me that sukoon or that sakina or that tranquility? Because that's what the prayer is supposed to do. And if it's not doing that for us, then we should be asking, well, what's wrong with my prayer? Because the issue is going to be with the words of the Prophet or with our prayer. With our prayer, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Because what the Prophet says is truth. So if he's saying that he finds peace, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam finds peace and coolness in his prayer, then we should be finding it. If we're not finding it, then there's something wrong with our prayer. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that whenever anything happened in his life, even if it was like something that caused him a bit of anxiety, some concern, he would turn straight to what? He would go straight into prayer. Straight away, start rak'ahs. And you see that in the life of the companions. Again and again, when they're in the state of prayer, they're in a different world. So you want to know, well, how do we access that prayer? It's achievable. Because they go, what's the famous hadith of narration regarding Imam Ali radiallahu anhu? Now, Imam Ali for us is what? He's like our Superman in Islam. Yes? Why? Because he was one of the fiercest warriors, one of the foremost in knowledge as well. Look at that. In Islam, in the UK, we get fighters and we get geeks. They don't get the same thing, do you? We're either really thick and we fight, or we're really super clever but we're wimps. But that's not how it was like during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. I mean, you have Imam Ali radiallahu anhu, who the Prophet ﷺ says that is the door to the knowledge, i.e. the Prophet ﷺ is a citadel of knowledge, i.e. the Medina, the city of knowledge, and he goes, and the door to that knowledge is Ali radiallahu anhu. Yet he was also amongst the most fiercest companions in warfare, and he was a scholar companion as well. And then you ask yourself that these are the type of people that we want. And they get there once. And just to give you an example, this is how it used to be. When the battle was coming, the Prophet ﷺ would get the troops in ranks and in flanks. And he would say to one group, you go take that flank of the enemy. And a whole load of companions would go that way. And he would say to Imam Ali, you yourself go and destroy that flank. And he would march straight into a flank, and all you would see would heads flying off. That was how strong he was. And and the reason I mention this is then to now bring you to the frame of mind that there was a time when an arrow was shot in the leg of who? Imam Ali radiallahu anhu. Now Imam Ali radiallahu anhu was a ferocious warrior. And when they try to, now, not that any of us here have probably experienced that, we've probably more chance of having bullets in us up north in Bolwe. I don't know. So I shouldn't say that, but he had arrow in his leg. Now, obviously, with an arrow, I say obviously, but you can't pull it out because it rips your skin back out. Now, the companions tried to hold Imam Ali radiallahu anhu down to pull out the arrow, and they couldn't because each time they tried to hold him down and pull it, what would he end up doing? He would scream. He would knock them back for 6. So they just couldn't physically do anything to him to get it out, and they needed to get it out. And then they said, "Oh, why don't you pray? Because when you radiallahu anhu pray, then you're out of this world. You don't notice what's going on in dunya." And so what did he do? He got into state of wudu. He did 2 rak'ah salah, and then he did that. And when he did his salam, he goes, "I thought you guys were going to take the arrow out." And they said, "Look at your leg." And he looked, and there was no arrow. They go, "We took it out." That's how his salah was. He was when these people, radiallahu anhu, when they prayed, their salah absorbed them so much that they didn't know what was going on to the right of them or to the left of them. That was the state of their iman. Now, that's what we want. We want to achieve or aspire to that. Because what we don't want to do is you don't just want to sit your whole life on your bottoms and hear about these lovely stories. And then not ever think in your mind, because we're so used to hearing the stories, and now the stories make us feel good, but we don't ask ourselves the question, well, actually, where are these people? Why can't I do this? Why can't I achieve this? Because it's your deen as well. It's your religion, it's your faith. The Prophet ﷺ came for all of us. So the travesty for us is that no one's teaching us how do we achieve this. And then we need to understand, and when we understand that if there is someone that's teaching us how to get too close to Allah, how to be like the Prophet of Allah, then we need to get it with 2 hands. And then we need to be grateful by demonstrating that. So inshallah, and that's what we're going to focus on. Now, so I've spoken to you about the companions. Now, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, they go that once, and again, I am telling all of this to bring you to a understanding in a moment, is that the Prophet ﷺ was praying once, leading Jamaat. And as he was praying, the companion noticed that during his prayer, he stepped forward as to grab something. And again, maybe in that prayer, maybe another prayer, the narrations say that at time he's praying, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of a sudden he steps back in the prayer. He steps back. And then when the prayer concludes, the companions ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to know Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why did you do those gestures? We've not seen you do that before. He goes that when I was praying, Jannah was shown to me and I saw these beautiful fruits, so vivid and so real that I went out to reach out to touch it. And then when he stepped back, he goes that when I was praying, hellfire became manifest to me. And the heat was so blazing that I felt it might burn me, so I stepped back. What was the Prophet ﷺ doing when he had these experiences? He was in Salah. He was praying. How many of us have had an experience like that? But what does it also teach you? Because one thing we're trying to do, that's one thing the mashaykhs do here, they change our mind. Like sometimes we're taught, myself included, that actually, when you pray, you should be quiet, no thought should come into your mind. You should just be thinking about this one spot or the Kaaba and that's it, and anything else, you're haram forever. There's your stamp, never come back to the masjid again. So, I joke, a brother came to see me actually a couple of days ago, and he said to me, when I'm praying, someone's swearing in my ear really badly swearing. I said to him, are you swearing back? He goes, no, astaghfirullah. I go, then you're fine. I go, as long as you're not swearing back, then, but that's his experience. But there's such a beauty, again, that our mashaykhs teach us, that actually the lesson for him will be as a part of it, because it was actually quite good that he told me that, because I thought, because the lesson was that actually if you, because he has company where people do probably swear to him, yeah, but if he's in his prayer, he's able not to swear back, because he's conscious that, oh, Allah's watching me, even though there's someone swearing. And when he's outside of his prayer, he now knows that actually if someone on the street starts swearing to him, he shouldn't have to swear back. If he can do it, he said to me, it's like serious. He goes, bruv, you don't know what the swear words were like. They were like some, and I was like, are you swearing back? No. I go, that's fine. So the point that I was saying is that even our salah is supposed to demonstrate how we can or choose to live outside. But that's a side point, inshallah, and we have an entire retreat about how to establish prayer in your life. But just coming back to the spiritual prayer, so I'm saying that's the experience the Prophet of Allah had with this. So things are being shown to him. He's having an experience. The companions have experiences when they're praying. We have Imam Ghazali rahimullah, one of the foremost scholars of Islam. Now his fiqh position is that from the opening takbir to the closing salam when you're praying, that if for a moment you're not in the hazuri or the remembrance of Allah, then that prayer is not valid. What is it? Now when you hear that, it's a bit scary. You're thinking, well, hang on a minute. I was like, if that's the case, I don't know what that means about all my prayers. Yeah? Forget about acceptance, because acceptance is between you and Allah. Validity, valid is, that's what the angels question you on. Does it make sense? Angels will say, look, that prayer you didn't do it properly, it's not valid. So they cross it off your, acceptance is with Allah, validity is what we concern us. That's why we do our wudu, to make sure our prayer is valid, make sure we do our fara'ids and so forth. Now, Imam, but the point that we should have hope in is that if he's saying, so to have a fiqh position, i.e. a position to say your salah is not valid, means that when he was a scholar at that time, that most people around him were praying how? In a way that they would always be in the presence of Allah. So, and that's what we're going to teach you now, is that how can we have a prayer that you can, one, be in the presence of Allah throughout the entire prayer, two, that you can enjoy the prayer so that you're actually looking forward to it, and three, that you can have a prayer now that resembles, so one that you enjoy, one that you're in the presence of Allah, and most importantly it resembles the prayer of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, i.e. the best of the best. And that's what we're going to focus on now, inshallah. So the way that the mashaykhs have designed this for us is to come into the mindset. So the first thing that, from what I've just spoken about, is that you should realize your prayer is experiential, i.e. you will experience something in your prayer. Now, for you to experience something in your prayer, the ustads have been teaching you throughout this course that you can have an experience, a spiritual experience on 3 different levels. One is the thought level, yes. The second is the imagination level, and the third is the... So all 3 of those are levels of spiritual experiences. All 3 of them. The third one is the supreme experience, i.e. when your spirit takes over. But the first one, i.e. the thought level, that's like you riding the bike with the stabilizers. You're getting used to it. Then the imagination level is you're pedaling that bit further. And the third is when you're just whizzing down that hill. Yeah? That's exactly the same with the spiritual salah that we're doing. That you bring thoughts in first, then that manifests itself into something that you imagine, and then your spirit overtakes. Now this should be entirely new to you, what I've said to you. You never would have been taught this, how to pray. Everyone would have told you to make sure you do your Fatiha, make sure you then recite Surah, then you do Allahu Akbar and so forth. But I'm telling you now, that to truly have a spiritual experience, that your mind, provided that you're doing it in the right way, is your thoughts, your mind, your imagination, your spirit can have an experience in your prayer, that you can be praying, and just like the Prophet Allah Azza wa Jal was experiencing heaven, you can be experiencing something. Whether that's heaven, whether that's the time of the Prophet, whether that's witnessing what happened in Karbala. All of this can happen through what? Through your prayer. And if that's happening through your prayer, then you tell me, if you are seeing, feeling, imagining, going through all of that in your prayer, will you be worried about what time it is? Will you be worried about what's going on the right of you or the left of you? No, because that's what's going to take over. So that's what the spiritual prayer does. It really brings your prayer to life, inshallah. So this bit now, literally will just take a few moments now, and I'll do that with you. So first, what we're going to do is, as I said, we're going to go to the Taif process. We're going to do up to the golden transfer. Then I'm going to ask all of you to get into safs, and then the Imam will lead the prayer, and then you'll do, once you've done the spiritual or the golden breath, we'll start the prayer. You'll do it in Jamaat, and then what you want to do is you want to direct your spirit to the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So Masjid al-Nabi, i.e. the blessed mosque of the Prophet ﷺ during his ﷺ's time, and that's what it's showing you there. And these imagery is there to help what? Yeah, it's helped to remember, because sometimes that word thought, imagine, people sometimes it becomes a bit of a dirty word. Your spirit, what all your thoughts do is they're directing your spirit to do what? To go somewhere. That's all they are. So that's why you have the thought, the imagery. It's just the same. It's like a sign saying to spirit, okay, look, I want to go there. And then you have that imagery in your mind, and then your spirit goes there, and then it takes over. You don't need to worry about afterwards. Was it my thought? Was it my imagination? Was it my spirit? Leave that to the ustads to worry about during one-to-one. You just carry on with the flow. You just bring in the imagery, and then your spirit takes over effectively. So you imagine again that you're in Medina during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and then here you can see how so it was a thatched roof. You know, we're talking about effectively like a mud hut type building. And you imagine, so again, you will find the teacher as you normally do, and you go with them to Masjid al-Nabi, praying with them, and we pray that inshallah that we're there behind the Prophet Allah Azza wa Jal. And then from there, and you can do this for each rak'ah. Yeah? So the first rak'ah you pray as if you're Masjid al-Nabi. The second one, again, you direct your spirit to go to the Kaaba, and again you have a look at the imagery, and all for those who are participating online as well, just to bring about the direction, the thoughts. As if you're praying near the Kaaba. Now again, look, this is just there to prompt your spirit. It's not for you, it doesn't have to be exactly the same image that you see. And then from there, so we go from Medina Sharif to the Kaaba, and then to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Now some of you have been there already. Now Al-Aqsa is a compound, you can see the mosque is a bit that's highlighted. And then and obviously some brothers here may have actually been there physically, so obviously that will help as well. And then from there, the next, in the other rak'ahs, you can then see yourself going up to the heavens, inshallah. And some of you would have experienced this in your normal spiritual mirage, out going into the heavenly gates, going to the first heaven, the second heaven. Again, this is your own spirit, your own mind, you'll have this experience. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave it in one particular bit. So it's as simple as that. So I'm going to leave it at this particular image here. But so that's the theory of the spiritual mirage. It's really, the first thing is just to unshackle your minds about how to have that, how the prayer can be conducted, what you can think about. Then we're going to dive shortly. But before I ask everyone to get into stuff, can I just check, does anyone have any questions? Those who are on Zoom participating online, if you've got any questions, then just use a Q&A post. Yeah. You can still participate in the prayer. You still get reward. You might not get the. I will still practice it now. But the brother makes a fair point. Actually, what he's saying is, look, all of this stuff takes a toll on your spirit physically as well. The prophets of Allah, the mashaykhs, when we have our blessed teacher here, we're all getting happy that we're having a great spiritual experience. For them, it's a physical experience, by the way. It's a physical drain on the body as well. So there is a link between the spiritual and the physical. So you should get sufficient rest. But you can still participate. There's nothing. It might not be, if you're tired, it might not be as strong as an experience. But nevertheless, I would suggest that you get the practice, inshallah, at least. But are there any questions? Oh yes, if you're reading it yourself from home, that's a very good question. So you're not going to be reading it collectively in Jamaat, so you just make an intention for a nawafil prayer. Obviously it's a time of the Hajj as well, so you can couple it with that. Any other questions on that? No. Okay, inshallah. So what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to give everyone 2 seconds. Imam Qais, should they have time for wudu or get straight into stuff? Yeah. Has everyone got wudu? Yes? Okay, good, that's fine, I'll explain it to them. So for everyone that's online, so this is what will happen. I'm going to ask everyone here physically to get to form lines, but they're going to stay seated. So if you're at home, what's going to happen is we're going to collectively go through the lataif process. So the cleansing of the lataifs, etc. Once the lataifs have been cleansed, and obviously there will be someone here at the front that will talk you through the process. When the golden breath is done, everyone who is in the mosque physically, they will get up and the Jamaat will commence. For those of you who are at home, at that point you pray your own prayer. You're not going to pray Jamaat virtually. You're going to stand up and you're going to make your own intention for your own nawafil at this time of the Hajj, and then you'll do your own prayer based on everything that we spoke about. But we'll do the lataifs collectively now. If that made sense, just if you could just raise your hand on the Zoom box, so I know that that's clear. Yeah. Okay. So inshallah, for everyone that's here in the masjid, if you can get into your spaces as if you were praying, if you do that now, inshallah. If you need to be on the chairs for the lataif, that's fine, but just put the chair in a way that when you stand up, you can get them out of the way. Assalamu alaikum. For any brothers who want to participate, if you're upstairs, now's the time to come downstairs, inshallah. We're going to go through the lataifs collectively. Inshallah, so if everyone can close your eyes now. And as should now be standard practice, inshallah. Bring about the 3 keys. Unlock your heart that recognize that Allah is with you, that Allah is watching you, and that Allah is hearing you. Allah is Samir, Allah is Basir, and Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein. So inshallah, begin to unlock your hearts. And just get comfortable with the silence. Get comfortable with your eyes. Make sure they're closed and they stay closed now so that you stay focused. And begin to recite the protection amal, Surah Fatiha once, then Ayatul Kursi, and then the 3 calls Ikhlas, Falaq, Nas, Ikhlas, Falaq, Nas, Ikhlas, Falaq, Nas, and then blow on your hands and then rub them over your body. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, begin to enter the 3 states, first of humbleness. So bring the thought, the muraqabah of humbleness. We're unable to worship Allah as He should be worshipped. And then bring about now the thought of gratefulness of all of Allah's creation, of all the people in this planet, in this world, in this country, in this town. Allah's chosen me specifically to be sitting in His masajid, learning this. So bring about the thought of gratefulness. Be amongst the few that do shukr to Allah. And now truly rely upon Allah. And reliance means saying that we put in the best of efforts, but truly accept that everything or anything that happens will happen at the command of Allah. We are fully reliant upon Him. Nothing that we do brings about anything. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Astaghfirullah. 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 Sallallahu ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallim. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallim. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Now imagine the name of Allah above you in white, above this blessed gathering, above you wherever you are. See the light coming from the name of Allah, and as it does, begin to regularize your breathing. Breathe in through your nose and out from your mouth. And as you begin to breathe in through your nose and out from your mouth, see the light coming from the name of Allah from the top of your head, and it begins to fill your body. And with every breath you take, more and more of your body is being filled with this light, pushing out any darkness, any worries, any anxieties, all being pushed out. Your head is now completely covered in the light. Your neck, your body, your arms, until your entire body is completely covered in this blessed, beautiful white light from the name of Allah. And now continue to just breathe in through your nose and out from your mouth. Deliberate breaths. Now see the name of Allah in red, and see the light descending from the name of Allah, and then as you breathe in through your nose, the light comes in through your nose straight to the led lataif, which is in the groin area, and as you breathe out you see the light cleansing the lataif, and as you breathe out all the dirt and the grime gets pushed out from behind. So the name of Allah is in red. You're breathing in through your nose, cleansing the lataif, and breathing out through your mouth. Do this now, a few deliberate breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and see the red lataif being cleansed. The name of Allah is now in orange. Light is descending from the name of Allah in orange, And then as you breathe in through your nose, the light enters into your body and goes straight to the orange lataif above, around the navel area, above the groin. And as you breathe out, you see the light cleansing the lataif and all the dirt and the grime being pushed out from behind. The name of Allah is in orange. You're breathing the light in through your nose. You are cleansing your orange lataif. And as you breathe out through your mouth, you see all the grime and all the dirt being pushed out. Just focus on breathing in and out. The name of Allah is in yellow. Beautiful light is ascending from the name of Allah. And as you breathe in through your nose, the yellow light comes in straight to the yellow lataif in the stomach area. You see the light cleansing the lataif, and then as you breathe out through your mouth, all the dirt, the grime is being pushed out from behind. The name of Allah is in yellow. As you breathe in through your nose, the light enters, cleansing the yellow lataif. Breathe in through your nose and out from your mouth. The name of Allah is in green. Light is ascending from the name of Allah, and as you breathe in through your nose, the light enters your body and goes straight to the green lataif in your chest region. You see the light cleansing the lataif, and then as you breathe out through your mouth, the dirt, the grime is all being pushed out from behind. The name of Allah is in green. The light is descending, and you're breathing it in through your nose. And as it is being cleaned, you push out the grime when you breathe out through your mouth, but it's coming out from behind. The name of Allah is in green. The name of Allah is light blue. Light is descending from the name of Allah. As you breathe in through your nose, the light enters and goes straight to the light blue lataif in the throat region. See the light cleansing the lataif, and then as you breathe out through your mouth, the dirt, the grime is being pushed out from the spiritual center at the back of the throat. The name of Allah is in light blue. Light is descending and you're breathing it in through your nose, straight to the light blue lataif in the throat region, and it's being cleansed, and as you breathe out through your mouth, all the dirt and the grime exits. The name of Allah is indigo. As you breathe, as a light descends from the name of Allah, and as you breathe in through your nose, the light goes directly to the dark blue indigo lataif around the forehead region. And then you see the light cleansing the lataif, and then as you breathe out through your mouth, all the dirt, the grime exits. So again, the name of Allah is indigo. Light comes directly descending from the name of Allah, and as you breathe in, it goes directly to the lataif in the forehead region. You see the light cleansing the latif, and then as you breathe out, you see all the dirt and the grime being pushed out from the back of the spiritual center. The name of Allah is in dark blue indigo. The name of Allah is in white. Light is descending from the name of Allah. And as you breathe in, the light goes directly to the white latifa above the head. You see the light cleansing the latifa. And then as you breathe out, all the dirt and the grime is pushed out from behind the latifa. The name of Allah is in white. The light descends directly to the white latifa above the head. It is being cleansed, and as you breathe out, you're pushing out all the dirt and the grime. Breathe in through your nose and out from your mouth. Continue to see the name of Allah in white, and now see the light descending from the name of Allah from the top of your head all the way throughout your body as it was at the beginning. See your body being consumed, being filled by this white light from the name of Allah that is in white. As your body is being consumed by this light, see your body, feel your body becoming lighter and lighter. And slowly you begin to see, you begin to feel, you begin to imagine that your body is beginning to disappear. Beginning with your feet, your legs, your body is beginning to disappear slowly. Feet, legs, arms, all of them are beginning to disappear. All that is left is now the spiritual centers. And now each of the spiritual centers begin to disappear. The red, gone. Orange, gone. Yellow, gone. Green, gone. Light blue, gone. Indigo, gone. White, gone. All that exists now is the golden breath. Now begin to form or construct your spiritual body. See it before you. And then in your own time, when you're ready, take the golden breath. And then once you've taken the golden breath, stand in line in the saf where you are to await the start of the prayer. And those who are at home or watching online, you'll start your own.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم لا مانع لما أعطيت وما نعطي ولا يأخذ. بسم الله. أيكم أيوه. This is we've got some time left now before we have a little bit of break. So if you like to give your feedback now as to how the experience was, and also not just this prayer, any other feedback you'd like to give, you can do so as well. You can avail this opportunity.
Inshallah, so you have opportunity now. I'll bring the mic to you. And if there's anything on Zoom that they can mention as well.
Assalamu alaikum. Follow the process and after transfer during the first regat of myself with the blessed teacher inside the old Masjid Nabawi Sharif. We walked towards the entrance, and the blessed companions were stood in rows ready to pray, and they were waiting the beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then like a light figure came and then started the Salah, and I was stood next to Hazrat Sahib. They were stood on my left hand side, and that's how the first record was read. And I remember I think towards the end of the first record I focused on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was as if I could see that blessed hair Mubarak, and that's about it. And then during the second record we transferred, we were in the Makkah Sharif. We prayed parts of the Salah there, and I don't know if we were there or if we were somewhere else, because it felt like they were angels and they were doing tawaf around the Kaaba. And then from there it was as if we went to, I could see paradise, and there was a big palace there. And as I mentioned, they said that this is where those people who are purified, this is where they will, this is their final place, this is where they will come to the nearest meaning. And then in the Shuddha position, finish the Salah, the remaining Salah in Masjid Nabawi Sharif.
MashaAllah, what a beautiful journey that you had throughout the prayer. And this is how, like Ustaz Majid was explaining about the Ruhani prayer, that a person in a prayer in itself, that they're going to Masjid Nabawi, they're going to Kaaba Sharif, meeting the companions, meeting the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What a blessed prayer that is, and what a blessed journey that is. That in your prayer that you're spending that time, these blessed personalities. What more can actually one ask for, that you're in the company of these blessed beings, and what status and daraja that prayer would be when you're actually reading behind them as well. You know, we hear about prayer when you pray in Masjid Nabawi, when you pray in Makkah Sharif, how much fazilat there is. But then to actually pray behind the person who taught us how to pray, the person who gave us the gift of prayer. What to say about the state of that person who is the greatest of the creation, the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What to say about the state of that person's prayer when he reads behind him. What to say about that. So what a great virtue and great fadila that it is that we're able to read behind the Prophets, the companions, and even the awliya and salihin, and more importantly behind our own teacher itself. So this is the level of the prayer of the student. If this is the level of the prayer of the student, what to say about the level of the prayer of the teacher when we then pray? So if this is the student is saying that I am actually witnessing these things when I'm praying, I'm visiting, my spirit is visiting there, where do you think the teacher's spirit is, and what they're witnessing and where they're going, what sort of rahmah is descending? As you know that when you go in the presence, when you're in Medina Sharif, there's a certain affairs and blessing from the Prophet ﷺ. When you're in Makkah Sharif, there's affairs that come from the Kaaba, because the nisbah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if the spirit is going there, the blessed zat of the teacher is actually then getting the affairs of those places and then distributing it out to the people who are in the congregation. So that's why we keep on emphasizing, it's not just when one is with the teacher, when one is in the company of the teacher, the physical company that is, there's two blessings that is coming from them. When you're in the physical company of one's blessed teacher, is that one blessing is from the spirit already is there, that if they are far away in the other side of the world or whatever, they can still bless you. But the other blessing is that the zat is also blessing you, the body. And that is a subtlety that you need to understand, that the physical body, because the spirit is containing, the body is containing the spirit, the body is blessed now. The body is also giving, distributing affairs and blessing to it as well. So two blessings, joint blessings you're getting from the teacher when you're in the physical company. And that is what, in a way, that people who live far, we feel upset for you sometimes if that you're not actually here, because there's no deprivation. Spiritually you're getting the blessing. But that person who's also physically here and he's actually connected with the teacher, that person also gets that extra blessing that the person that normally when you listen to the internet you don't normally get. So especially for local brothers, or when you have the opportunity, it's something for you, that if you get the chance, if you are able, seize the moment to be physically here. You can always listen to the recording, yeah, it's definitely there, you'll listen to it. But that physical blessing that you receive, you'll be deprived of, that it doesn't get. They've said it many times, is that there are certain affairs the internet cannot unfortunately give it. You only have to be here physically. And everybody is witness to that. Whoever's sat, whoever's been, everybody's witness. I don't need to say anything, I don't need to say anything else, do I? You all know that. Just a glance is sufficient. Just to, even if you're hiding behind the pillar like most of us are, when we're hiding behind the pillar because we're so embarrassed about our state, even still just to feel the presence that you hear in the voice even, it's just amazing, it's just an oozing feeling. So one receives the blessing both physically and spiritually, yes, definitely indeed. So what to say about their prayer, that's one thing you should actually ponder on. So Jazakumullah khairan, Jazaa. May Allah bless you and keep you steadfast and take you even further higher realms if need be.
Assalamu alaikum. Qasim. Once we started the Salah, and I transferred, I was with Hazrat Sahab and we was at the As-Sirat, the bridge, and Hazrat Sahab stood next to me, and underneath it felt like there was a lot of lava and so much hotness, and there was a lot of people in there. And as I looked up, Hazrat Sahab just went to the other side in an instant, and he told me to cross over. And as I was coming towards the As-Sirat, it was getting thinner and thinner and thinner, and it just made me hesitant to cross over, and I didn't want to take that step to cross it over. And as I looked back down, Hazrat Sahab came back. He transferred straight back next to me in an instant, and then from there we moved over to the resting place of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz the Bag, and there was a bright light coming out of the door of the resting place shining towards me. I couldn't look at it. And then from there in the second rakat, we was at janazah, someone's janazah, funeral, and it felt like it was my janazah. I felt like they was putting mitti over me, and the soil, all my loved ones were there, my father was there, a few of my friends, and yeah, that was it really. And then after a while it felt like I could see my gravestone on the thingy with my name on it, and then that was it, and then it just finished.
And so, mashallah, that was a beautiful experience from Brother Qasim. Yeah. The one thing I would just say that is that what you saw spiritually, and this is for each and every one of us, and for myself, is that is literally what the teacher is doing day in and day out for us. They are taking us over the bridge. So these experiences give us a glimpse of that. You saw the lava, the sins, everything in this world that's trying to drag us down away from the other side, i.e. to success. And they are with you, by your side, taking you, just saying, just follow. And then even when we're hesitant, there they are, saying to him, cross the bridge. He knows they're telling him to cross the bridge. He can see what's beneath. And yet we still hesitate to go forward, and then they come back again to take us forward again. And that is constantly what they're doing in our lives, that wherever we forget about them, so they may not be here, and the mosque might be empty because we forget, but they don't forget. They keep coming back, and they keep coming back. And just like as the brother saw with his with the janazah, that our friends and families, they are going to stop up to the bit where you get buried. Yeah, that's it. But where was it that you saw Hazrat Sahab? They're at the Sirat, they're beyond. So they're with us here, and they're going to carry on. So while the rest of us, all our friends, all our good wishes and everything, they'll stop at our gravestone, but not the teacher. They have that long-term aim. That's why you're here, we're giving you that big wholesome picture of why and what we're trying to get through. And there can't be a bigger thing than that. I mean, and that's why, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing to see brothers here locally. And even myself, why have I come here? To benefit, because it's only when I come here now that they're not going to be here that that I can benefit when they are going to come here. It's simply as simple as that. And the fact that each and every single one of you have made the effort to come when the teacher physically isn't here, that effectively is your ticket to make sure that you can benefit when they are here. But the vision that Brother Qasim saw, it really is a reminder to myself first. Literally, that is what you are seeing day in and day out. That they are constantly taking us over, and then you couldn't see it more clear as day, that when our friends and family leave us, they will carry on. Inshallah, it's a good one. I mean, and that exactly what these unveilings are here for, to take what we see and allow it to inspire us or energize us to get closer to Allah, but follow the teacher's very simple commands. By now we should, our tongues, are they purified? If I'm still swearing, am I comfortable giving my phone to Brother Gulfam and saying, check my internet history? If I'm not comfortable doing that right now, then each and every single one of us should be sitting with someone here, with one of these blessed stars, and saying, look, I have this issue, how do I get through it? Because there is a way through it. For every issue we come across, they have taught us, they have told us how. So don't live in misery. There is a way past each and every single sin. And we smile, but we all have the same issues. It's not new. There's nothing unique to one of you that's not unique to me. But the difference is that the whole purpose of the course is not for us to live like slaves to shaitan and our desires, but actually find out what the solution is. And I'm just going to just on this one bit, just because a brother once asked, one brother said that he keeps falling on a particular sin, and the Mashaykh said to him, and you crossed the sheet, you crossed, and he put a little sign to see which sin is it. Because again, it tells you why is that particular sin happening. And the Mashaykh said, well, you kept on falling, you kept on failing every single time. That's what he thought. The Mashaykhs were smiling. They said, no, you're passing. And they said, and then he goes, but I can't get past this. And they asked him a question. He said, and they explained to him that for every sin there is a bridge. What is there? There is a bridge to a sin. And that bridge could very much be that actually I realize that I only swear when I'm with this group of friends, for example. I only start thinking about women when I'm with this group of friends, because whenever anyone walks past, they won't stop saying, check her out, or something. But every sin has a bridge. A time will come and they go, okay, that's fine. They go, that we realize what your bridge is, now cut that bridge. You stop with those group of friends, you realize that your tongue will fly. And it's simple as that. So really take it seriously. It's not a cause. I remember when I used to first come, the brothers used to laugh. I used to have my book. I used to have sticky labels on all the different bits, and so forth. But it's such a serious thing, and it's so easy in terms of the process. And it's such, it gives me such joy that all of us are here together, especially when the teacher physically isn't here, because it means that inshallah together when they are here, we'll be here again.
Sister from Zoom. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I transferred and went to Old Medina Sharif. There I met the mothers of the believers, Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. They hugged me. Then I met Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha with them, and they hugged me. Then Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha took off a metal ring and placed it on my finger. They kissed me on the forehead and said to the nearest meaning, welcome back. I finished my namaz and did salam.
MashaAllah, whoever the person is, Mubarak to you. I think it's the sister you mentioned. Mubarak to you, the fact that Alhamdulillah, that you've met such blessed personalities of Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa and then Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anhunna. These are the people are like the shining stars for both men and for women. Especially Sayyidah Fatima radiallahu anha. She her level of haya and the modesty was at the highest and peak. And she's one of the female leaders of the Jannah as well. That no one ever saw her, even what her height is or their size and so on. She always stayed in such a parda and so on, such purity. The blessed lady who is, and for you to actually meet them, these blessed ladies, it is certainly blessing upon blessing, and especially where it is indicated that they were telling you to welcome back. So it shows that maybe you had the opportunity in the past, or you had some connection and spiritual opening, but because maybe for whatever reason or shortcomings, we have maybe gone away from their company. And now that Alhamdulillah, after so many maybe weeks or months, we've been practicing, and again we found the connection. So this is a mercy upon mercy, light upon light. That is like saying that once you become successful, find something that you're looking for in all your life, then you never contemplate, I'm going to lose this again. You hold on to it very fast and carry on. But sometimes as a human being, we do make mistakes, we do move away, we get carried away and then get disconnected. But as a special mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the special prayers from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Mashaykh, that again you made intention. I'm sure he did Tawbah and he practiced it now, and again you had the same connection. Rather, they're blessing you even more, as they're saying welcome back. They give you a blessed ring. This ring is like a commitment. Or normally in our culture we do ring between husband and wife to show that we committed to each other. But here spiritually they're telling you that they are fully committed. The blessed Ahlul Bayt, Sayyida Asha Siddiqa, and Sayyida Fatima Zahra radhiyallahu anhunna, they are the blessed people. They want us to benefit. The contract from their side is already signed off and ready. It's just that we sign contract or we don't take seriously and we break that contract or break that commitment. So now they're re-emphasizing, saying that now I'm giving a ring of love. Like in our cultures, when our daughter departs or goes somewhere, as a memory they give jewelry or whatever of the mother, just as a memory that this was special for me, I received from a special person. Now I'm handing it to you, sharing with you, so that you remember me, you do not forget me. What does that mean? It means that our actions and our deeds in the worldly terms, we are actually living up to that, trying to follow our role model and how they live their life, following the Sharia and Sunnah and being steadfast and avoiding the negativity and become a force of good. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed men certain qualities of leadership or bravery and so on. But the ladies have certain qualities which men don't have. If they have the right mentality and right mindset, they can lead a community, they can nurture and they can bring about a full community of righteous and pious as well. And they can run households and can guide people. They have this motherly qualities that they actually can make whole families upright as well. Where there's maybe sometimes brothers fall out or the relations fall out, if a person or a lady, she's a rightly guided person, she has a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she actually becomes the means to reconcile between families as well. Normally, men have this egoistic thing that they don't want to go bow down and say sorry and so on. But the pious and the righteous ladies, they can actually play that role. So really, normally we think about ladies and all these other qualities we think about. But really, if we can harness ourselves, go to the purification course, as our teacher and the Mashaykh have set the scene, and train ourselves, we can become the force of good. Not only in our own household or amongst the family members, but in the whole community. That's the level of power of the women they have. Even in the time of the Islamic or Muslim history, it is said that in the time of the Uthmanid Empire, the Ottoman Empire, like we say in the Western world, although they had the sultans and different ministers and so on, but they were said really the people that actually ran the empire, it was actually the ladies, the mothers and the wives. They would advise them what to do, what's best to do and so on. And it was very valid opinions they used to give, very powerful and very valuable. And many times it was a success because of that advice. Sayyida Asha Siddiqa sometimes used to advise or give their opinion to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he used to honor it and value it as well, showing us that if they are rightly guided and nurtured and purification has gone through, they become very force of good. The soft skill, the soft power they have, which men sometimes don't have that qualities or don't have those qualities. So what is saying is that as a role model, you should transfix now that these are the ladies are my role model. Not on the YouTube or on the Snapchat and whatever else becomes our role model. One day they're Islamic, next day they're not Islamic anymore. My role model is those who are guaranteed, Allah give reassurance and guarantee that they're the people of and the ladies of paradise, and that should be our goal. Yes, we as a human being, as a ummati, yes, we have so many weaknesses, we do fall. That's natural, but we should not move away from this mission to try and emulate and follow the footsteps of such blessed ladies as well, and make our mission, make that as our goal that want to follow in their footsteps, and also then by Allah's grace, mercy, and the fears of Mashaykh, that inshallah we are blessed one day as well. We have the potential. Like we said yesterday morning, that everyone here have potential to become friend of Allah. In fact, we are created for that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves every single one of us. He created out of love. So we have the potential to become the friend of Allah. Obviously not comparing to anyone else. Between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have certain friendship. You can build that. Unfortunately, like Hadrat Sahib was mentioning in the Itikaf after, that we have such potential to live a life of blessing, like Ustad Usman was covering, the heaven on earth, build such a beautiful life, live a life knowing who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, discovering this new relationship and living to the full potential. But rather what we do is, we live as though we are criminals. Just if we can avoid going to prisons, then I'm fine. If I avoid getting punished, then I'm fine. Like Hadrat Sahib was giving an example back in the days in the India subcontinent, that there were those students in schools, they do excel very well. They do study well, they put their effort in and do excel. And there are those who consider, if I don't get a stick on my head today, then I've done well today. I'm successful, there's no stick on my head because teachers not annoyed at me, I'm not messed around too much. So we have to think which type of level of people should we be. The person who excels or tries his best or her best, or those, or if I just somehow avoid going to hellfire, then I'm okay. And people who have that kind of attitude, then most likely there's a danger as well, because you're only playing at the fringes or at the borderline. So that's why we should aspire, we should raise our game as well, inshallah. So it's a very blessed and a reminder and a welcome back message to you, so that whatever happened in the past, ask forgiveness, move on. Decide from tonight, from now on, that this will never happen, that I completely turn away again. I could make mistake as a human being, but I could never turn away from this guidance, from the blessing of the Mashaykh in the company of the teacher, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Is there any brothers here want to mention anything? Okay, so there's another one on Zoom. It's anonymous, they've not given a name or such. I did the Latifa, stood up, prayed 2 rakat nafil as normal with Surah Fatiha and Surah Fil. And next rakat with Surah Fatiha and Surah Layla fi Quraysh. I did get a glimpse of souls. Each rakat traveled through to Medina and Makkah was clear, then Masjid al-Aqsa. I started off with closed eyes and then opened my eyes in first rakat. I was in peace, praying. When I did my salams, I closed my eyes. I stayed sitting in Muraqabah. I was still following to Medina, Makkah, and did feel the presence of Sheikh Dabbagh, but moved on and saw some bright white tents as if Mina. Then some image-like dark people in white irhams, millions running, look alike with stick, running as if Akhirah Judgment Day. I got a bit scared and kept asking, where is my teacher? I still kept calm and continued seeking my teacher, but not to be found. I then saw lights, mountains and horizons. Then I saw a waterfall made of light. I started making istighfar and cried and asked Allah to forgive me. I just breathed and opened my eyes when the Sheikh on the mic spoke. I didn't see the teacher. This is my first time doing this spiritual salat. I'm not sure if it was right.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. MashaAllah, initially what you've done is correct, and you follow the procedure, and this is the first time, and hence why Mubarak to you and congratulations to you, that the fact that you witnessed and your spirit was traveling and you went to these blessed lands of Medina Sharif and the Makkah Sharif and beyond. And then after, as you experiencing, you were feeling the presence of Shaykh as well, which is good, Alhamdulillah. Afterwards, we didn't really ask you to do that, but you did that. That's why you should follow instructions. But there comes a time when we do say to yourself, we try to keep that presence. So he did that. There's nothing, inshallah, future, just follow the instruction, what the instructors have told you. Now you've kept on and carry on, that's good. And when you're saying that you were asking and calling for the Shaykh really is actually probably already there, but you just, because of one's connection isn't strong, hence why you're not probably feeling the presence of the Shaykh. So it is true and correct that despite the fact that you're not seeing physical people going to physically to Makkah and getting ready for Hajj season and so on, but really angels and the awliya and salihin, the special buzurg and awliya Allahs, they spiritually still are able to travel and they go and do Hajj, Umrah and Hajj continuously whenever they feel like, and they're always doing the ritual aspects. So physically you're not seeing, there are also still Allah's servants, special servants who spiritual will be doing and performing. You're just getting a glimpse of that, that's all. Seeing, doing istighfar is just in a way, all of these things that you're seeing is an indication and seeing the waterfall and the acceptance of your istighfar and acceptance of the prayer that you did. So mashallah, mubarak to you there. And inshallah, again, like I said, is that because you're new to this, the more of the connection that you actually develop, inshallah, the stronger you feel the presence of the Shaykh and you'll see the Shaykh. Next time, all you got to do is not really call out, is try to visualize the Shaykh, Shaykh Ahmad Abbar, try to visualize the teacher and you'll find them, inshallah. So instead of getting all worked up, try to see wherever you are, try to bring in the focus of the teacher and you'll find them, inshallah, there and then.
Another one from a sister on Zoom. MashaAllah, met my beloved teacher, said salam, and wallahi read Salah at Arafah behind Hazrat Aka Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, a lot of pious people, and I saw in front of was paradise. Aka Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is garlanding Hazrat Sahib with a very beautiful garland and outfit, and we are all behind, all the pious family of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Hazrat Sahib is sitting in the center of the table, and all around is all the pious and awliya ikram. Allah Subhan is being praised. I don't know how to explain in the words.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brother Ghaffar, was that a sister on Zoom? MashaAllah, effectively the sister achieved the objective of the spiritual Salah. I think the next step now is, inshallah, so for the people that are having these experiences, obviously there could be commentary in every experience, but the point is that once you are having the experiences, to now, inshallah, develop and engage on those experiences, so that you can, the visual, the understanding, what you see becomes more and more strengthened, inshallah. And then just also for yourself, when you see certain things like with the teachers being given garlands and so forth, it is to strengthen your understanding, your yaqeen in terms of your guide and your teacher, i.e. being endorsed by the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, i.e. being up on their path, inshallah.
Just on what Ustaz Majid have said, so it's actually like physically in the physical world, the teacher and the mashayikh, especially our teacher, they never say anything about themselves, who they are or what the status is or anything like that. They just live normal like we do amongst us, pray namaz, salah together, travel together and so on. But spiritually, when these things are shown, especially like Ustaz Majid was saying, is to build or to raise the honor and the love of such personality. You get a glimpse of the real status or some of the status of such personality, such teacher in the spiritual world, in the closeness to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's like, people who watch football or whatever, when they win a trophy, they get a medal around them. Not everyone gets the medal, only certain people, or only the captain gets to lift the trophy, for example. So And then people who know about football, they're honored. He's a gold medalist in the Olympics as well. He's out of the whole. He's very special person. Likewise, spiritually, when you see these things, that has a meaning. Obviously, what's their status in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they know best. We do not know that. But it should instill some kind of love and honor and awe in us that, look, we are guided by such person and such personalities that I am blessed and I should take this more seriously and follow the path. Everything boils down to this. That, like I was speaking to some brothers yesterday, that we should think that I'm having experiences, or fellow brothers or sisters are having the experiences as well. They're like us. They're not, maybe they are scholars or might not be scholars, might be learned, or maybe just like me, students or workers or officers and so on. If they are having such experiences, then it should first of all make you convinced that that's it, this is it, this is the true path, this is the path will lead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and you become serious. You should be that, and you should cherish those moments and say, from now on, from this weekend now, I've seen it, that's it. Everything clicked now, it makes sense. I've tasted the dunya, I know how people of dunya are like. People, maybe your own cousins, you grow up together, now they become the worst of your enemies. They even go around behind you trying to cause you so much harm and damage and so on. And you think, what have I done to you? I have my own issues, but what have I done to you for me to suffer so much? So you've seen the dunya, and that's the reality of dunya as well. That, you sometimes do everything for them, and they turn around, and they basically completely trying to harm you, and completely they want to destroy you, your name, your character, your person, or even physically as well. Whereas these selfless people, these awliya, these mashayikh, they never even ask for a penny. Even if you do want to give it, then it's against the adab, and they would frown upon. So they're only doing it for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the love of the ummati of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So that's why we should see the purity and the truth and the haqq, and grab it and hold on to this rope of Allah, which surely will take us to success, inshallah. So we should take that moment to think about, reflect, and say, yes, from today, that's it, I found a way. I found my new mission, new goal. I'm into a discovery, into new life now. Nothing will comes in the way, inshallah. And that's how we should that's how we should make our mind up now, inshallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. So during the Lataif process, my mind was very occupied with something else, finding it quite hard to concentrate on the Lataifs. After I transferred, we started this Salah. I met Hazrat Sahab in the old Medina, and we were praying Salah in old Medina during the first rak'ah. And during the first rak'ah, whilst praying Salah, I was speaking to Hazrat Sahab. I was asking Hazrat Sahab for guidance, etc., especially with the overwhelming problem that I'm currently having. Hazrat Sahab said to me, to nearest effect, that there was a reason why you and brother Ustad Usman was locked outside the door today. And Hazrat Sahab pointed me towards Ustad Majid and advised me to continue to speak to Ustad Majid. After this, we were in the mazar of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabag Rahimullah. Whilst we were in the mazar, we were praying in the mazar, and I could see the name of Allah shining onto the grave, shining onto Hazrat Sahab, and shining into my heart. After that, we went back to the Medina as today, and Hazrat Sahib advised me in Medina to build more sunnahs into my life. For example, the 7 organs. They advised me you're lacking on your 7 organs, and to start purifying those, bringing those into your life. After that, we were in Makkah, and myself and Hazrat, we were both in Ihram. We were praying Salah in Makkah, and then we went to Masjid al-Aqsa, and then after Masjid al-Aqsa, we went to the first heavens. We continued to pray Salah there, and then we went to so something said in my heart that we should go to Jahannam. So there, for me and Hazrat Sahib, we went to Jahannam, and we could see Jahannam as a beast. And there was a man standing next to me, and the man saw Jahannam, and he turned around and he was running in the opposite direction. An angel came with a chain, and he threw the chain at the man, and the chain wrapped around his legs and dragged the man and threw the man into Jahannam. And then me and Hazrat Sahib, Hazrat Sahib was taking me to Jahannam, and in Jahannam I could just see the man he was in like a lava type of river, drowning, and the trees were all fiery, and it was not a good place. And there was an isolated building, and I could see a man inside. He was locked up to his own will. He's chained up, and he was being tortured by one of the angels with a drill, and the drill was poking into the man in each side, everywhere, all of his body. After that, Hazrat Sahib, we came back out of Jahannam, and then I can't exactly remember exactly what happened after that. But some other more thing. We went to other different places, but I can't exactly remember. Exactly.
Alhamdulillah, first of all, what you need to understand is that there are more than 7 billion people out there in the world, and what they really want is someone purely for the betterment of that person, someone to give him some advice, someone to show him the right direction. Children growing up without a father, they always suffer that I did not have a father figure in my life who could direct me, or who could guide me to become a better person. So brothers and sisters who are actually found our teacher and Hazrat Sahib, it is the best of guides. It is a guide which is a representative of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So once you have this person as a guide to actually guide us and advise us, then to actually disconnect from that guide, from that advice, from your teacher, it is the biggest loss in itself. And maybe what's happened in your life is exactly this. The things happen in your life, plus or minus, some kind of loss, some kind of issues you're going through. But the biggest loss was that from day one, you should have been under the guidance of your teacher, which you accepted him. If you had done that then everything would have been okay now. Yes, we go through our issues, our problems. There are so many things we do in life, which is obviously it's a life experience. That's what we're meant to be human, that you go through plus and minuses and struggles and difficulties. But if we are lucky enough to find such guide, such teacher, then to almost thinking that I cannot think for myself anymore, except that I will do mashwara or consult, seek guidance from the teacher, and then I'll tread carefully. And so I hope this makes sense to you personally, that sometimes it's good to look back and see where we're going wrong in order to move forward. And then later on, for example, you saw those stars, especially Majid, it is indicating now, from now on, rather than looking here and there, you should have dedicated person like Ustad Majid, who's under the obviously guidance of Hazrat Sahib, that seek advice from them before you do anything, good or bad. Sometimes it's personal, I decide, I know better, which is fine. But then now, because you got such a guide and you want to follow the path now, and you've seen the reality of dunya and how they're like, you should be under this guidance and mashwara all the time, not to decide by your own selves or because of the culture or the custom of the society. I have to follow. You can follow, but you see the result at the end as well, what happens. Because we move away from that advice, from that guidance, from that fears, from the blessing as well. And then we disconnect ourselves. So, like you saw the advice again about doing a sheet, going back to it. I would say to yourself, and especially to myself and others, this is all secondary. Sometimes we go wrong. Oh, I'm not doing my sheets well, that's why I'm falling behind. I'm not doing my zikr, I'm falling behind. I'm not really doing well, so what's the point of going to the gathering? There's something we're missing here which is subtle. It's not about the sheets, number one. It's not about your zikr, number one. It is important. I'm not disregarding that. Of course it's important. It is something about that you establishing a link for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When that's disconnected, then nothing will work. You find yourself, I'm doing tick sheets for 6 weeks or 6 days, and it's not going anywhere, completely, sidelined. It's because there's something, the biggest link, which is actually become like a pipeline or a guidance coming, that's been severed, that's been disconnected. So you cannot progress with your sheets or your zikr or whatever else. And sometimes we go around in circles in this. Oh, I'm not doing my tick sheets, so what's the point doing going to the gatherings, or what's the point being in that? When I'm doing my tick sheets again, when I do my zikr again, I'll part of it. Maybe the thing is, you need to be connected first. Do tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for disconnecting ourselves, and then be at the feet, submit fully, and then you see the flood of blessing, a light comes, and then the tick sheet, then mashallah, you try your best with certain effort, it happens, the zikr askars happen, and so on. So the lesson here is that sometimes we almost rely on our own ability and ourselves. Oh, I've got the ability, I should be doing the tick sheet, why is it not happening? Sometimes we should humble ourselves and submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Him to take us forward. And as a means in this world, teacher is the means as a guide to support us and take us. So never forget that the support and the helplessness and the need and the support need from the teacher here. And like Ustad Qais was saying, the easiest thing to do is just physically be present as much as you can. Like I said, sometimes physically you receive something which you cannot do so, being far away as well. It is a wrong notion. I know some people think I'm far away, I'm more spiritually connected, so I don't have to be in person. That is actually not correct. Correct thing is that you physically more closer you are, you get physical benefit which you will not get necessarily. You will not be deprived, but you will not get that special blessing as well. That's why the companions who spend most time with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are one of the highest amongst the companions. Obviously, they're all blessed as well. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq spent all his adulthood life since the announcement of prophethood with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the only one. He had a special status. Did you know what that is? He was the only one physically spent time in that special cave when they were actually migrating from Mecca to Medina. It was only Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq. They went to that, Ghar al-Sur, and they took refuge. And even Sayyidina Umar bin al-Khattab, he used to be so much admiration that I would be willing to sacrifice all my deeds for that one moment when he spent in that grave. Imagine that. So the physical, being present is very important as well, and we should not neglect that. If you have any other thinking, then we should rectify our thinking and bring it back in line, inshallah. Obviously, as a human being, we work, we have other duties as well. It's not always possible, which is fine. It's not necessary. But for us to really benefit, and those brothers you think or sisters are benefiting, is because they've understood some of these points as well. So we have to bring that in our life, and then everything else will follow suit, inshallah. And the people who say about Jahannam and everything else, is actually a reflection of a future that if you do fall, if we sever our ties of support and the party of Allah, the rope of Allah which is given to us in form of teacher and the mashayikh and guidances and Quran and Sunnah and everything else, then the end result of the person could be that person who's in Jahannam. It's a open doors, open, you could say, book, that if you do well, if you use our will according to Quran and Sunnah and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to us, then we go to Jannat, inshallah, and be in the good company. But if you actually leave everything, ignore everything, bypass a donkey attitude, and just leave ourselves, I know better what to do. Yeah, I do a lip service, now and then, yeah, I'm with you, mashallah, I'm coming to your gathering in Jummah or every other, Ramadan, whatever, but I have my own life to live. Then there is always a danger, and we should be wary of that as well, inshallah. But the good news is for you now, you've seen the life experience, you've seen what happens, and you almost, maybe you feel as though I'm depressed, I don't feel like going anywhere, what's happened to me, what have I done wrong? These are the things you've done wrong. I can't really obviously go in any detail, but you should know and reflect, and now inshallah, seek mashwara, consultation with Ustad Majid. He'll advise you. He'll tell you, okay, go see Hadrat Sahab, seek advice about this. Don't decide things for yourself. And that's inshallah your secret and your success lies, inshallah. So from now on, you need to take that lesson seriously. It's not about your brother-in-law, it's not about anyone else, it's about you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the guide who's going to take you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. I hope this is clear. If you want to speak more privately, then you can do, but can you relate to what I'm saying? Yeah? Inshallah.
Asif, were you putting your hand up there, or were you just scratching your neck? That scratch gave it.
You put me on the spot here. To be honest, it was a little bit broken for me. It started off with me seeing a green carpet. Then it turned into a red carpet. Then it looked like we were walking through hallways. Wasn't clear where we were. Then it jumped to the old Medina Sharif. We were there for a few seconds. And then after that, it was like as if I was raised to the skies, just seeing pure white light. And again, that changed into blue light and then green light. But other than that, that's all that I can really remember.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Just from what Brother Asif said, if every single person here had said they had seen nothing but darkness, and you just narrated that, everyone would be saying, wah wah. You've seen everything and we've seen nothing. So just sometimes there's a perspective as well, that if everyone else hadn't seen anything and you just narrated what you just saw, the fact that you saw a green carpet and a red carpet, and then you saw yourself ascending towards the heavens, and then you said just that, I think everyone else would like saying. So I say it as a joke, but there is a point behind it. Firstly, because I hadn't appreciated until I did the Beyond that this is actually your first spiritual retreat, mashallah. So there's a blessing in that, alhamdulillah, that the fact that there's been an opening and there's an awakening, a spiritual awakening. So, but as the Dr. Shah and the Ustads have mentioned before, that when you first go through a process like this, when there's the spiritual birth effectively, and someone just opens your eyes and immediately you're hit with light, all you do is just see glimpses, and then things begin to settle, and then as things begin to settle, you start visualizing more. Now, but the key requisite to that is you have to practice. Does that make sense? This can't be the only time, the first time and the last time you do the spiritual salah, up until we have another retreat again in 6 weeks' time. And then you say the exact, it doesn't make sense. So there has to be, so there is not, I appreciate obviously in compared to some of the experiences that people have said, and a lot of brothers here have done this before, but that is an experience, alhamdulillah, and therefore the takeaway is to absolutely build on that, inshallah, and building on it is going to be holistic in terms of everything, like Imam Qais was saying and Dr. Shah was saying, coming and being present physically with the teacher as well, because that changes the paradigm. So for example, at the moment I appreciate we're speaking about one of the objectives is seeing and tasting and experiencing, but there's more to it than that. There's a deeper understanding that will come through these unveilings, but you only get that deeper understanding or that appreciation. That can't just be taught to you. You have to be physically in contact, seeing the teacher physically, just being in their presence, even when they're silent. and your spirit continues to strengthen, your spirit continues to get the fairs, and that strengthens your spirit in terms of what it can receive from the spiritual world. So all of these things have an impact, inshallah.
Now, inshallah, we'll have a 25 minutes break. Then we'll start with the majlis of Durood and Salam and also Muraqwa Dua as well. And then we'll do have Sahri, inshallah, those who are fasting. So have a break for about 25 minutes. And inshallah, to refresh yourself. Everybody be here prompt 2 o'clock, please, okay? Jazak.
कोई तो है जो निज़ाम